Hello everyone. I am Ganesh Raghavendran. I'm gonna teach you the geometry bridge course for the 11th class. So first, before going to geometry bridge course, so what is basically geometry? In olden days, the mathematicians were like fascinated by the shapes of the earth elements, rocks, like that. So they actually created a branch of mathematics to study the earth elements, the measurements of the earth elements. So geo means earth and metry means measurement. So this branch of mathematics where you study about the measurements of earth elements is known as geometry. And mathematicians who study this geometry extensively are called geometers. So this is an interesting fact, of course. And then you guys will be needing geometry for the IIT JEE and NEET examination. And you guys would have had a basic or a fundamental brush up during your 9th and 10th class. And studying this geometry further in 11th and 12th class will help you as a booster, or it's easier to score marks in this area during IIT JEE and NEET examination. So let's go into the course. In this course, it's divided into three sections: straight lines, conic sections, and 3D geometry. We will be studying extensively about straight lines and conic sections in 11th standard, and we will be going into more detail about 3D geometry during 12th class. So, let's see what's straight line. So, as you all know, straight line is nothing but a linear ray which has a start point, which also has a end point. So there are basically three types of lines you guys would have studied. One is a line which extend on both sides indefinitely. One is a ray which has a start point and then extends indefinitely on the other side. And the other one is a line segment. Line segment has an end point and a start point. These all three types of straight lines will be covered during the geometry classes, like when you are plotting a graph, or when you come across the inequalities course. So now in this section, in this bridge course section, you will be studying about the coordinates of the point, the coordinates of the straight lines, like how do you plot a straight line, how do you make out the physical meaning of a straight line, and then distance formulas like distance between 2 points or distance between two lines, equation of straight lines. So the equation of straight lines, how do you define a straight line mathematically? The coordinates of a point helps you to define a equation of a straight line physically, or I mean define a line segment physically on a graph. That is like you will be having four quadrants, two axes. This is the by convention this is x-axis, this is y-axis, the vertical axis is, and this first quadrant, second quadrant, third quadrant, fourth quadrant. There are four quadrants. Uh, so in these four quadrants, you will be having a lot of points, and then joining 2 points, you get a straight line. So this is how you physically represent a straight line on a graph. By mathematically, you need an equation or an expression to express a straight line. We'll be going through that in this course, and we'll also be studying about a pair of straight lines, like how two straight lines, like when two straight lines are crossing over each other, so what will be the angle between them, like that. And in 12th class you will be studying about the distance formulas in 3D section, in 3D uh, space. In 3D space you will be having 8 quadrants. It's just like having the 2D graph, and then you are elevating it with the height. So you will be having this 4 quadrant, one in the top view, one in the rear view. That is like 4 into 2, you will be totally having 8 quadrants in 3D, and equations of straight lines in 3D. So we will be covering that in the 12th bridge course, but now we are going to look upon the 11th bridge course. Yeah, and we will also be covering the conic sections, circles. So here, like circle is a uh, fundamental 2D object, or it's a fundamental 2D shape which you guys would have covered in 8th standard or 9th standard. And a circle is actually defined with a center and a radius, right? So how circle is defined? Like circle is defined mathematically, saying that it's the locus of point which is equidistant from a particular point called center. Okay, locus of point. Locus is nothing but collection. So like I have a center, for example O, this one, and now I'm gonna have a locus of points, collection of points that are equidistant from the center. Let's have a distance r, and let's define that distance as radius. So each point I'm gonna plot now are equidistant from the center point O, and we are going to have this distance as r, which is known as radius. So this is basically the definition of the circle, and circle is a very basic and very important shape you need to master for IIT JEE and NEET examinations. And ellipse. So like ellipse, these are the images showing you the rough idea how a ellipse looks like. You guys would have studied about the gravitational laws and Kepler's law, and Kepler's law states that sun revolves around the earth revolves around the sun in an elliptical path, right? Ellipse is kind of like circle, but it's different because it has like in circle you have a center and all points are equidistant from the center, right? But here it's not the case, right? You may think like here sun is kind of like a center, but this point, this length is greater than this length. So basically ellipse has two focal length or foci. This is focus points. Okay, and this rugby here also is shaped as ellipse. So there are like lot of elliptical objects you would have seen around you, and we'll be studying that about we'll be studying about ellipse extensively in this bridge course as well. Okay. Now, what is parabola? Parabola, like if you see a circle, like a lot of misconception about parabola is many people think parabola as an arc of the circle, but it is not. Like for example, if I cut from this segment to this segment, if I take this part, this is an arc of the circle, right? This is an arc of the circle. An arc of the circle is not a parabola. It's not a parabola. So parabola is not always a part of a circle. In special cases, parabola, the equation of parabola and equation of circle can match. So that's a special case. But parabola is something like it's like a part of a cone. Like it's like you dissect a cone with a plane, and the image you observe from that is a parabola. For example, you throw a ball from a point at an angle, and you will be you would have studied this in physics. You would have covered this in physics class. So this, the path covered by the ball is called parabola. It is called parabola. So this parabolic shape you would have like encountered in real life as well, like this rainbow and throwing a ball, etc. So we will be covering about this parabola extensively in this bridge course. Hyperbola. Hyperbola is kind of like a duplex parabola, you can say. It's like has a shape like this. Two parabolas converging at a point or something, or like two inverted parabolas as you see here. And you can see here the shape of this hard glass. The shape of this hourglass is like this, right? This is a hyperbola, and the shape of the Pringles. Like if you see Pringles from the rear side, like if you just have it in front of your face, you can see Pringles like this. So it will also be a kind of like a hyperbola. So before going to conic sections, we need to know what are cones, right? Like cones are like uh, uh, a shape with a base, with a circular base and a pointed top. You guys would have observed this conical shapes like in ice cream cones or like in the birthday hats and everywhere. So this cone can be formed from a cylinder. Like for example, take this cylinder and a cone has approximately 1 by 3 volume of a cylinder. You guys would have studied this, right? Volume of cylinder is pi r square h, where h is the height of the cylinder, r is radius of the cylinder. Volume of cone is 1 by 3 pi r square h. So these conic shapes are really important to understand how we get the shapes of circle, ellipse, parabola and hyperbola, right? So now we will see we will see how we are getting the shapes circle, ellipse, parabola and hyperbola from conical sections. Let us consider this right circular cone, this pair of right circular cone. Why is it called a right circular cone? I'm sorry. Yeah. So a right circular cone is something where its height subtends an angle of 90 degree with the base radius of the cone, right? For example, this is the base radius and this is the height. The height subtends an angle of 90 degree. Okay, so that is called right circular cone. Usually we work mostly with right circular cone, and right circular cone is also the 1 by 3 of the cylinder. And here naps, this is called naps. Naps are nothing but two parts of the cone. This is one nap, this top cone is one nap and the bottom cone is another nap. Vertex is a joining point of two cones. And generators are nothing but you can consider them as lines passing through the vertex of the cones and also in contact with the cones. So that is like the boundaries, line passing along the boundaries of both the cones are called generators. We will see how this generators are also important. So let's start with right circular cone and how we get circle from the right circular cone. If you have a plane and then you dissect the cone with that plane perpendicular to the axis. So the plane is perpendicular to the axis, right? And it's parallel to the base of the cone. The plane is parallel to the base of the cone. When you do that, you create a section. You create a section of the right circular cone which when viewed from top looks like this. That is nothing but a circle, right? And let's see how we derive the shape of ellipse from right circular cone. When you bisect a cone with the plane at an angle, okay, so that is this angle is alpha, and you are bisecting a cone with some angle beta such that alpha is less than beta and beta is less than 90 degree. So you saw here the angle was 90 degree for bisecting for getting the circle. Here the angle should be here the angle should be less than 90 degree, but it should be greater than this angle alpha, the conical angle, right? And you can also define this as it's this is neither actually you can see it's neither perpendicular to the axis, it's not parallel to the base, but it's an angle and that angle should satisfy the condition alpha less than beta less than 90. Beta is the angle of the plane and alpha is the conical angle. And now parabola. Parabola, section of right circular plane parallel to generator. So as I told you, this generator is the line passing along the boundaries of both the cones. And when you have a plane that is parallel to this generator and it is dissecting the cone, you get a shape like this. This shape is called parabola. So what if what if this plane uh, goes on bisecting the cone and it reaches the generator section? What if the plane dissects the cone here? When it dissects the cone here, what kind of shape do you get? Right? So the generator, along the generator, when you dissect the cone along the generator, you get a straight line. So you can actually imagine this parabola like this. Like, so this from this generator you get this parabola, and then as you move on, as you move this plane along parallel to the generator and move on, you get these kind of parabolic shapes, and this is a straight line at which where the plane passes exactly along the generator. Let's see the sections of a right circular cone by using planes which are parallel to the axis. Right? For example, this shape and this shape. So when you have a plane passing through the cone which are parallel to the axis, you get hyperbolic shape like two inverted parabolas, or in NCERT book it is also defined as the plane which is passing through the cone, which is dissecting the cone with an angle less than alpha. So when it is more than alpha, you get an ellipse. When it is less than alpha, you get parabola. Here in this GIF image, you can see how different shapes are obtained from the conic sections. Like, let it play again. You get generator. First, you get a point. You get a circle. Then you have an ellipse with beta angle. Then you have parabola parallel to generator. You have hyperbola that is at an angle less than alpha, and you get a straight line when the plane passes through the generator. Let's see the coordinate system. So what is coordinate system? Like as I mentioned earlier, to represent a straight line physically, you need a system, like you need a graphical method, right? So for that we are using this coordinate system called Cartesian coordinate system, and we'll be covering about Cartesian coordinate system in this class. So coordinate system is nothing but a reference system designed to locate the position of any point or any geometric element. So for example, how you uh, like as you have an address for your location for your house, the coordinate system helps you to locate the point, locate the particular element where it lies, right? For example, I have a quadrant 1, and I have a point some pi comma 3. So what does it tell me? It tells me that the let this be origin O. This point A 5 comma 3 lies in the first quadrant, and it is 5 spaces right of the origin and 3 spaces top of the origin. So it's basically like an address of location of the point. Okay? And we are going to study about the Cartesian coordinate system. So Cartesian coordinate system actually is uh, sorry, Cartesian coordinate system actually helps you to locate the point position of the point by using the distance of the point from the origin. For example, the same example, 5 comma 3, it is 5 spaces to right of the origin, or you can say it's 5 spaces from the y-axis, and it's 3 spaces at the top of the x-axis. So this way Cartesian system is designed, and the other system of coordinate system is polar. You guys will be studying about the polar coordinate systems in complex numbers chapter. So in Cartesian coordinates, let us consider two perpendicular straight lines x, o, x dash and y, o, y dash passing through the origin O. Normally origin is defined by 0, 0, kind of like a starting point. Axis of x, the horizontal line xox is called axis of x. This is x-axis, and vertical line yo y dash is called axis of y. This is y-axis, and x-axis and y-axis together are called axis of coordinates or axis of reference. So as I told you, like as I explained the location of the point 5 comma 3, I explained by keeping y-axis as the reference, right? So as it has mentioned here, we use x-axis and y-axis as the reference lines to mention any location of a point or an element in Cartesian coordinate system. So let us consider two perpendicular lines xo x dash and yo y dash passing through the origin O in the plane. Then I will draw the coordinate system again. Xo x dash yo y dash. The point O is called the origin of coordinates, or just the origin. So as I told you, like O is nothing but like a reference point. As we have reference axis, O is a reference point, that is kind of like a starting point, and it is defined by 0, 0. Okay. Yeah. And now coordinate of a point. So the ordered pair of perpendicular distances of a point from x-axis and y-axis are called coordinates of the point. Like as I mentioned earlier, for example 5 comma 3, 5 is 5 distances from the y-axis, and 3 is 3 distances above the x-axis, right? So this 5 comma 3 are called coordinates of the point, and here 5 is the x coordinate, 3 is y coordinate. Okay. And x is called x coordinate or abscissa. So this one is called abscissa, this one is called ordinate. X coordinate of every point lying upon y-axis is 0. That is, we know this is x-axis, this is y-axis, right? When you have a point here on y-axis, then the distance of the point from y-axis is obviously 0 because it lies on y. So the x-coordinate of every point lying upon y-axis is 0. Similarly, y-coordinate of every point lying upon x-axis is 0. That is, when you have a point lying on top of x-axis, right, the distance between the point and the x-axis is ultimately 0, right? So here, if a point lies on a, for example, they give you a question which mentions the point lies on the y-axis. So what will be your coordinate? Your coordinate will be 0 comma y. This 0, the x coordinate will be 0 because it lies on y-axis. So the x coordinate is 0, and you may have some y coordinate. It may be 0 or not because it's not mentioned in the question. And if a question mentions that a point lies on the x-axis, then you have a point like this, x comma 0. So the ordinate or the y coordinate of this set is 0 if it lies on x-axis. Coordinates of the origin are 0 comma 0. As I mentioned earlier, it's the reference point. Okay. So let's see the distance between 2 points. Let there be 2 points, one point x1 comma y1, that is P, and few points x2 comma y2, right? So the distance between these 2 points is given by this formula, square root of x2 minus x1 the whole square plus y2 minus y1 the whole square, and distance of point, some point, any point, here in this case P, from origin 0 comma 0 is given by root of x1 square plus y1 square. That is, let's take the second point as origin, then you have x1 PO equal to x1 minus 0 the whole square plus y1 minus 0 the whole square, right? Which you will get x1 square plus y1 square. Now let's see how you get this coordinate system, like coordinate system distance formula. How can you derive this distance formula from the coordinate system? Yeah, let's have the coordinate system xy, this is origin. The point A is given by x1 comma y1, and point B is given by x2 comma y2, right? And the distance between AB is given as D. So this point, the distance, let it be C. Distance AC is given as A, and distance BC is given as C. So by Pythagoras formula, you guys know that D square equal to A square plus B square, right? So D equal to root of A square plus B square. Now let's have this distance. For example, for this point C, A, B. Now the point C is, from this graph you can say what point C is. A is x1 comma y1, right? What does that mean? That is, this distance is y1 and this is x2 comma y2. So this distance is y2, this distance is x2, and this distance is x1. Okay, so the point C has coordinates, this is x2 comma y1, right? So the point C has coordinates x2 comma y1. Now what is the distance of A? Distance of A is nothing but AC. A has coordinate x1 comma y1, C has coordinate x2 comma y2. So it's nothing but it's traveling in like parallel to x-axis, right? So the distance between these 2 points, like intuitively you can say that distance between these 2 points as x2 minus x1, right? It's basically between, it's basically like a guy is standing at point A and guy is standing at point B in a straight road, and then the straight road distance is 4 meters. So it's simple as that. So similarly for point B, so the distance B is given as BC. So the point B is x2 comma y2 and point C is x2 comma y1. So that is like a straight vertical line, right? This is like a vertical line BC. So the distance of B is nothing but y2 minus y1 intuitively, right? Now you substitute this A equal to and B equal to values here, you get x2 minus x1 the whole square plus y2 minus y1 the whole square. This is how you get the distance formula which we saw in earlier slide. A question: what is the distance between the points 1 comma 2 and 3 comma 4? So 1 comma 2 and 3 comma 4, you just substitute the points values in the formula. Like you can pause the video here and you can try it by yourself before checking the answer. The answer is let this be x1 comma y1, let this be x2 comma y, right? And x2 or x1 minus x2 the whole square plus y1 minus y2 the whole square. We can also write x2 minus x1 the whole square plus y2 minus the y1 the whole square. The order doesn't matter because in one term you'll get a negative value and in one term you'll get a positive value, but ultimately when you square them you get a positive value and with same magnitude, right? So x1 minus x2 is what? X1 minus x2 is 1 minus 3, that is minus 2 the whole square. Y1 minus y2 is 2 minus 4 minus 2 the whole square. So minus 2 the whole square is nothing but 4 and minus 2 the whole square is nothing but 4. So what do you get? The value you will be getting is root of 8, which is nothing but 2 root 2, right? So this is the distance between the points 1 comma 2 and 3 comma 4. A point whose abscissa is equal to its ordinate and which is equidistant from the point A 1 comma 0, B 0 comma 3 is. You can pause the video at this moment and try to do the question by yourself and you can check the answer now. So abscissa is equal to ordinate. Abscissa is nothing but x coordinate and ordinate is nothing but y coordinate. So x let sorry, let x equal to y equal to some a, right? Let x equal to y equal to a, and which is equidistant from the point a 1 comma 0, b 0 comma 2. So the coordinate of this point is some a comma a. Let it be some a comma a, and then the distance between point a comma a and 1 comma 0 is given by a minus 1 the whole square plus a minus 0 the whole square. And this distance is equal to the distance between the point a comma a and 0 comma 2 according to the question, right? A minus 0 whole square plus a minus 0 whole square. So you will get a minus 1 the whole square by squaring on both sides, which will take away the root. A minus 1 the whole square plus a square equal to a square plus a minus 2 the whole square. You can cancel this a square on both sides. Now here you can do two things, that is a square plus 2a minus 2a plus 1 is equal to a square plus 6a plus 9, right? Now a square and a square gets cancelled, so if you have it here, 4a is equal to a, so a equal to 2. So you get the value here for a as 2. Conic section circle. So what is a circle? Circle is the locus of the point which moves in a plane such that its distance from a fixed point in the plane always remains the same, is known as circle. It's what we discussed earlier. So it's locus of a point, collection of the point which moves in a plane such that its distance from a fixed point in the plane is always equal. So this distance is always equal, that is r, radius of the circle. The fixed point is called the center of the circle, O, and the distance between the fixed point and the moving point is called the radius of the circle. So, application of circle in the real world, like you could have seen circle is used while for creating many circular architectural buildings like Roman amphitheater, and then circle is also used for making bangles, and so there are a lot of applications, and circle is one of the very important topic that you need to be thorough for IIT JEE and NEET examinations. General form of equation for circle. For example, the general equation of a circle is of the form x square plus y square plus 2gx plus 2fy plus c equals 0, where g and f and c are constants. So now what I'm going to do here is, let us have x square plus y square, and we have plus 2gx plus 2fy plus c equals 0, right? Let's uh, rearrange the term. Plus y square plus 2fy plus c equal to 0. So this is the equation. Let us break down and rearrange the equation. Now I'm adding and subtracting g square terms. Plus g square minus c square. And I'm also adding and subtracting f square terms. So minus f square. So this is minus g square. Now if you see these terms, it looks like x x plus t the whole square, right, plus y plus f the whole square, yeah, equal to g square plus f square minus c, right? So this is the form you get: x plus t the whole square plus y plus f the whole square equal to g square plus f square minus c. And here you can rewrite this as x minus minus g the whole square plus y minus minus f the whole square equal to root of g square plus f square minus c the whole square. So this is like a rewritten form of equation of circle, and here minus g and minus f are center of the circle, and square root of g square plus f square minus c is the radius of the circle. The radius of the circle as given. So when you are given, for example, in exams, like you will be given just the equation form. It won't be mentioned whether it's a circle or parabola or ellipse or hyperbola, because like each shape has its own equation, and then you need to find the which shape is that by looking at the general form of the equation. So this mentioned here is the general form of circle equation. Like when you study or when you are working out with the problem, most of the problems you will be working out with x minus a the whole square plus y minus b the whole square equal to r square, like that, like this form of equation. But then in competitive exams, they usually give you the general form, and then they ask you to find the values of focus, or the values of center, values of radius, like that. So they won't mention the shape of the equation, right? So, yeah. So the nature of the circle: if g square plus f square minus c is greater than 0, then the radius of circle will be real. Hence, it is possible to draw a circle on a plane. If that is equal to 0, then radius of circle will be equal to 0, such that a circle is known as the point circle. If it is less than 0, then radius of circle will be imaginary, and hence it is not possible to draw a circle. Like uh, if this value is greater than 0, then according to this equation here, if this value is greater than 0, then root of that value will also give you a positive value, right? So you always want you always want radius to be a positive value, right? Because like radius is nothing but a distance. You just say you can go to the it is at a distance of 5 kilometer or something like that. You don't say like it's at a distance of minus 5 kilometer, right? So the radius is conventionally positive, and to have a positive value, to have a real value, it should be greater than 0. This term g square plus h square minus c should be greater than 0, right? And because like for example, questions may be asked by giving this general formula, by they will be giving you the values of g, f, c, and they will be asking you what type of shape does this equation form, and is it possible to what type of is it possible to have that shape in real space. So real space means the Cartesian coordinates which I showed you. If radius of circle, if this term g square plus h square minus c is less than 0, then you will have a negative value. Square root of negative value, you get complex number, and complex number you can't plot complex number in Cartesian coordinates. There is a separate plane called Argand plane. For this case, you plot these values in Argand plane using polar coordinates, which you guys will be covering in complex numbers chapter. This is real plane, Cartesian coordinates. And so the radius of circle is 0 when this term equal to 0, and that defines a point circle. That defines a point circle in the sense that is nothing but a point. So that is nothing but a point. It's the point circle is nothing but a point on the Cartesian plane. I will show you how this is. For example, g square plus h square minus c is equal to 0, right? Then you will get x plus g the whole square plus y plus f the whole square equal to 0, right? So that is nothing but the center of the circle is minus g and minus f, right? As the circle, if you fix the center and then you draw a circle around the center using a radius r, and then you keep on reducing the radius by fixing the center. So you'll have the same center, you'll have smaller circle. You have the same center, you'll have even smaller circle. As the radius goes on decreasing, as it approaches 0, the center and the circle will collapse at the same point, right? So this g comma f is always equal to x comma y, because the center of the circle and any point on the circle collapses to a same point. So x plus g and y plus f becomes 0, and this relation holds, and this gives us a point circle. So this is the standard form of equation. We saw the general form of equation of circle: x square plus y square plus 2gx plus 2fy plus c equal to 0. This is the general form of the equation for circle, and this is standard form of equation for circle is x square plus y square plus equal to a square. That is, if g comma f both equal to 0, then you get this value, right? So for example, if the origin is the center of the circle, from this equation you get, yeah, in this previous slide, from this equation which we have got, if the origin is 0, that is g and f are equal, sorry, the center is origin, that is g and f are 0, then you will get x minus 0 the whole square plus y minus 0 the whole square here, and 0 plus 0 minus c the whole root the whole square. That is nothing but this will become c, and this will become x square, and this will become y square. Yeah. So that's what given here. So x square plus y square equal to a square. It is a representation of a circle which has a center as origin 0 comma 0, and a is the radius. Okay. center form of circle. In center form of circle, you have this equation, like the equation which we derived earlier from the general form of circle, that is x plus b the whole square plus y plus f the whole square equal to root of b square h square minus b, right? So here, if you take some here, the center is minus 3 comma minus 1, right? So if you take center in the first quadrant, that is in the Cartesian plane, if you take first quadrant where x and y are positive, then if you substitute those values, you will get x minus y plus y minus 2 equal to r square, right? So this is the center form of equation where a center is given to you and radius is given to you. You can form an equation. If you are given just an equation, you can derive and get the center and radius of the circle by using the derivation which we did earlier. Or if they have given only the radius and origin as the center of the circle, then you can use the standard form equation, that is x square plus y square equal to a square. Okay. Yeah. Find the equation of the circle which passes through the point of intersection of the line x minus 4y minus 1 equal to 0, 4x plus y minus 21 equal to 0, and whose center is 2 comma minus 2. So the equation of the circle which passes through a point of intersection. So the circle passes through the point of intersection of two lines. Before going to the circle part, we have to find the point of intersection of the two lines. The two lines given are x minus 4y minus 1 equal to 0, 4x plus y minus 21 equal to 0, right? These are the two equations of the lines given to us. Here, there are two equations and two variables. So if a point lies on a line, that means that point should satisfy the equation of the line, right? For example, if I'm saying x plus y minus 1 equal to 0, I have to check whether 0 comma 1 lies on this line. So I will be substituting 0 plus 1 minus 1, which is indeed equal to 0, which satisfies the equations. So similarly, you need to get a point which satisfies both equations. So you have two equations and two variables, so you know how to solve it, right? I'm multiplying the equation 1 by 4. This is equation 1, this is equation 2. 4x minus 16y minus 4 equal to 0. 4x plus y minus 21 equal to 0. When I subtract both this equation, you get 17y minus 17 plus 17 equal to 0. So y equal to minus 1, right? And you can substitute this y equal to minus 1 in any of this equation. For example, if I am substituting in equation 1 x equal to 4y plus 1, so I am substituting y equal to minus 1, I will get x equal to minus 3, right? We have the values minus 3 comma minus 1 as the point of intersection, right? Let us check if this indeed is the point of intersection by substituting this value into the second equation. So 4 into x is minus 12 minus 1 minus 21, right? Okay, it seems I did a mistake here. Okay, so here it is minus 17y plus 17, which gives you y equal to plus 1. If y equal to plus 1, you get x equal to 5, right? So you get x equal to 5 and the points are 5 comma 1, right? Okay, now substitute in the second equation. To substitute in the second equation, you get 4 into 5 20, 20 plus 1 minus 21, which is indeed equal to 0. So it satisfies the second equation. So if you see here, even if you make a mistake, you can actually check whether the answer is correct or not by substituting the point in the second equation and verifying it, right? So now we have got the value 5 comma 1, and whose center is 2 comma minus 3. So the circle center is 2 comma minus 3, and we got the point of intersection which also lies on the circle, right? So if a point lies on a circle, then what does that mean? It means that it should satisfy the equation of the circle, right? And center is given 2 comma minus 2. So I will use an extra space here. So the point is 5 comma 1 and point, and center is 2 comma minus 2, right? uh, okay. 2 comma minus 2. Now here we need to use the general form of the equation of circle. So what is the general form? General form, we know that x square y square plus 2gx plus 2fy plus c equals 0, right? The in this, according to this general form of equation, the center is given by minus 3 comma minus 4, right? So that is nothing but minus of minus 2 comma minus of 3. That is the center, right? Okay. That is the center, right? So g is equal to minus 2, f is equal to 3. Okay, f is equal to 3. Now a point is given 5 comma 1, right? So that is x equal to 5 is given, y equal to 1 is given. Now we have to substitute the values. You get 5 square plus 1 square plus 2 into minus 2 into 5. We have the set of values, and plus 2 into 3 into 1 plus c equal to 0. This is the equation you get. When you solve it, 5 square plus 1 square is 26. 2 into 5 is minus 20. 10 into minus 6 minus 20. 2 into 3 is 6, right? C equal to 0. So what do you get? 6 plus 6 is C equal to 0. Okay? So this is, sorry, C is equal to minus 12, right? So what do you get? You get the equation as square plus y square, and you know what is g? G is minus 2 minus 4x, and f is plus 3 plus 6y minus 12 equal to 0, right? C is minus 12. So like, how can you check if this equation is correct? We have a point 5 comma 1. You just substitute a point 5 comma 1 in this equation and see if it equals to 0. So 25 plus 1 minus 20 plus 6 minus 12. So 26 minus 20 is plus 6 plus 6. 6 plus 6 is 12. 12 minus 12, that is equal to 0. So you get 0. So you know that what you have done is correct, like your equation of the circle is correct. This is the general form, right? So when they ask you the equation of the circle, before solving it, you just need to see the options, like what kind of options they have given. Are the options in general form, or are the options in center form? We know what is center form, right? Center form is x minus h the whole square plus y minus k the whole square uh, equal to a square, where a is the radius, right? This is the general form, the above one. This one which I have written now is center form. Center form. What if you are asked to write equation of the circle in center form? Then we know the center. Center is 2 comma minus 3. You just substitute the values here. X minus 2 the whole square plus y plus 3 the whole square, right? And you need to find the radius. What do you know about radius? Radius is equal to, okay, I will use this space for radius. Radius r is equal to root of c square plus s square minus 3, right? And we know g is equal to minus 2 and f equal to 3. So 2 minus 2 square is 4. 4 plus 3 square 9, that is 13. 13 minus c. C is 12, right? C is minus 12. So you get 13 minus of minus 12, that is root of 25. This is equal to 5, right? So radius is 5. And radius r, or here in this center form you have denoted radius with a, or a is equal to 5. A square is 25. So x minus 2 the whole square plus y plus 3 the whole square equal to 25 is the center form of this equation of the circle. Yeah, that's all for this part, guys. And in next part, like, we will be exploring more into the conic sections and the equations of the shapes that we obtain from the conic sections other than circle, like parabola, hyperbola, ellipse, etc. So see you in the next section. I hope you enjoy this class. Thank you.